I know you guys think I'm retarded or whatever, but I have a theory and I want you to hear me out, okay? Brad is dead. His body is mutilated, and God knows how it got that way. We're the only people out here, and all the clocks have stopped it. This reeks of alien activity, you guys. I'm Liam, he's Rob, and for the first part of our Hugmas season of Alternative Christmas Movie Podcast, we are looking back at one of the finest horror comedies of the century, the California set yet French-financed alt-Christmas classic 2003's Dead End. This low-budget, high-concept movie might not have made much of a splash at the cinemas, but with $77 million in DVD sales, it undoubtedly found the audience that its fantastic writing and wonderful performances deserved. But as great as this movie is, and make no mistake, it is great, it feels like it has fallen off the radar in recent years, and thanks in part to its unique setup and decidedly grim outlook, is rarely mentioned when it comes to the finest Christmas movies out there. So, is this wonderfully black comedy deserving of a comeback this festive season, or has time been unkind to this former indie Christmas darling? Now, I say all that because I know I've always loved this film. I still enjoy this film a great deal. I don't know how you feel about it. So that could all be bullshit, of course.
Well, I'm not gonna like attack it a lot, but I will say that I've only ever seen this once. I did watch it in the cinema. I was pretty lukewarm on it, probably because I watched it in 2003. So I was what, 21? No, 20. Fuck me, I was 20. And it was just yeah, okay. Like I guessed the ending straight away, but I have that problem with a lot of films. I always seem to try and guess the ending, and I should let the ending come to me per se. But and then
I'm the complete
yeah.
opposite. I'm really good at like not guessing. And I don't mean like I'm a complete dumbass. I'm incapable of guessing. I literally watch a movie and I just don't try and guess. I just, like you say, that was a great way of putting it. I just let it come to me.
Yeah, and absolutely, and I totally get that. My wife hates it because we'll sit there and watch a film at home or anything. I'll turn around and go, "Oh well, there's the killer." Or
Oh, you don't say it out loud.
Yeah,
oh,
and
yeah,
so
just
she
be clear, she is
me.
right to hate
Oh yeah,
you. That is
absolutely,
unforgivable.
absolutely. So yeah, I was lukewarm on it, but rewatching it again, I can now, as I've gotten older and I've seen more films and things like that, I can understand the bleakness of this film, the comedy aspect, the whole dysfunctional family when they're at death's door. And it's ironic that you picked, of all people, to quote at the beginning of the film, you've picked possibly the worst son in cinema history. And I haven't done a list this time. I haven't done a list. Okay. But my God. And it works for this film in a way, but also it's insane. Like, Richie is self-absorbed to the point of parody. The family's unraveling in a death loop. He sneaks off to masturbate in the woods. It's not just awkward, is it? It's inappropriate given the circumstances. He's got zero survival instincts. He's comic relief gone wrong. He's a complete contrast to the rest of the family, but it works for the film because the behavior of the worst son adds to the film's comedy. His absurd choices underline the theme of family trapped in limbo. Each member is undone by their flaws. And he's a constant reminder that horror often magnifies everyday dysfunction. So it's turning a bad son into the worst son in history when death is literally at the door. So his choices that you would see in Christmas comedy, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. The kid goes off to masturbate. That's funny. He's gone off to masturbate. Something's happened. You know, he does it in this. He's just found they've just found a woman dead, or they just picked up a woman. They left and he's gone to masturbate. I thought he was going to set his dick on fire because he did it by Zippo light. That's absolutely. He's obsessed with
a dangerous game. I mean,
he.
this movie.
Sorry, just one more thing.
No,
that's okay. He is obsessed with the boyfriend.
Brad.
Brad. Like, I'm pretty sure he wants. Well, I thought that he had unrequited love for Brad, but then he took out Miss July. So maybe not.
No, I think Brad is just lame. Brad is lame. He's lame in a completely different way, but
Brad should have been called. Brad should have been called unnamed son-in-law. Like, he didn't need to be there. He was.
You know what?
He was the guy just to get taken out first. That was it.
Yeah, he was just an extra head count. He might as well have been wearing a red jumper. It was quite ludicrous, but But no, like you're absolutely right on Richard. And this film, the one thing I think it does so brilliantly, and maybe it's one of those things you notice more as you watch it when you're older and you become, like you say, a bigger fan of movies, is that when you see it in like 2003, you're like, well, the setup is being done before. Like there was a whole bunch of movies around this time where like especially in the horror genre, where it was all about the big reveal or the big twist in horror thrillers, and it all comes back to Sixth Sense. So there was like The Others in 2001. There was Identity, which was the same year as this, which another movie I actually love, and The Descent in 2005, which wasn't.
Sorry to interrupt. Was Identity 2003?
I think it was 2003, yeah, which is depressing as fuck. I
Yeah,
know it feels. Doesn't that feel more modern than this?
It does. It feels fresh to the mind.
Yeah. For some odd reason, there's something about the way it's shot and everything where I'm like, if you told me that like that movie came out in like 2009, 10, I'd be like, yeah, that sounds about right. When I check, like double check it, because I'm sure when I checked it, I was like, holy shit, I can't believe that's 2003. Because this feels like a 2003 film. No, like for the most part, it gets away with it because you're in it's high concept stuff. You're in a car, and once you get over the fact that it's an older car, it's just all right. The mobile phones don't work, so you can forget all about those. There's only two things that really give away its age. One of them is occasionally the score, which is the only thing which I really don't get on with this in this film. And the other thing is the aforementioned Richard. He is so the early 2000s kid, and it's easy to look back now and go, oh god, he's just like this dysfunctional little like dick bag. But that's what like we were sold on what like kids in like their late teens, early 20s were. Like this is the era of like new metal, The Offspring, all that jazz. Yeah. And he's so fucking playing the part. And this whole
is 2000. Sorry, it is 2003. Just
2003, which is insane. Okay. Like this film, what was brilliant about it, I think, is like it leans into cliche. Like everything that happens is pure cliche in this film, but every time it comes with a little twist. And I think it comes back to, as you mentioned a moment ago, was that family dynamic and the fact that it's got that black comedy running all the way through it. So when somebody dies, you're just like, well, that's not unexpected. But then there's always a comedic familial twist on top of it. So there's always something else, or vice versa. There's always like a bit of comedy, or then a bit of unexpected horror, or vice versa. And I think that's what ultimately like elevates this film. That and the tone, and as I mentioned, the cast. But I know Richard is a douche, but I mean Mick Cain, who plays Richard Harrington, he's that kind of like, he's like 24 going on 47. There's definitely a hint of the how do you do fellow kids about him. But at the same time, I'm not sure if you have this feeling, he somehow looks like every single member of Alien Ant Farm. He's just got that look about him, that kind of turn of the century look.
But to be fair, if he's a teenager and he has those parents who are both in 2003 in their 70s, I totally understand it. Like I know they're not in their 70s. No, I know they're not.
But they totally do. They totally look like they are.
Lin Shaye has always been the older lady in these films, and I can't look at Lin Shaye without thinking about her doing the tongue through the fingers thing from Woody Harrelson's Kingpin. He's the landlord, and
it's weird you say, because I think for a lot of people, they think of her as like a bit of a scream queen now, because she's in like Insidious and stuff like that. Yeah. But it's weird because you think of her as being from what's it called? Kingpin. Kingpin, sorry. And the movie that immediately jumps to mind for me is bizarrely Detroit Rock City, where she plays the mum in that. But like you said,
is it not Critters or Critters 2 or The Running Man or Pump Up the Volume?
She was in Running Man.
Yeah, she was propaganda officer in Running Man.
Dude, I have no recollection of her being in Running Man at all. It's absolutely bizarre. Yeah. And I've seen the Running Man so many times, and she's got a distinctive look. But
how about the madam in Last Man Standing? Sorry to interrupt again.
No, I don't remember that either. I literally remember from a handful of films, but like in this film, she borderline steals the film. Like, you know, it's like her relationship with Frank Harrington, her husband in this film, is genuinely elite level on-screen couple. It's so all bubbling under the surface. It's all kind of
not under the surface. Fuck me.
It starts off passive aggressive.
I mean, he does not want to be there at all. He doesn't want to be. And again, I know you're saying that they're in their 70s. It surprised me that they drive into the mother-in-law's, and I was like, "Fuck me, your mother's still alive."
Yeah, it's absolutely. But I think that there's all the horror stuff, but I think the reason I love it so much is just it's a wonderfully dysfunctional family. And usually for a film like this, whether it be a Christmas movie or Christmas horror, whatever, is that at the start they're all kind of getting on, and then things go wrong and it all kind of falls to pieces. In this film, they're already miserable at the start of the film. Before they die, spoiler alert, before they die in the crash at the start of the film, they're all miserable as fuck. Their Christmas trip is pure obligation. They don't want to be spending any time together. And all this movie does is bring all that underlying, hate, distress, all the lies over the previous 20, 30, whatever years. It just brings it all to the surface. And it always comes to the surface after someone's died. So something horrible happens, and then someone's like, I'm pregnant. And then like that opportunistic brother thing goes, I smoke pot. Or then his son dies. Oh yeah, by the way, he's not yours. There's always a sucker punch with this film.
What's the speaking of sucker punches as well, what's the biggest dick move, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it proposing to or going to propose to your girlfriend at her parents' or grandparents' house on Christmas, where basically it feels like you've locked her in? And the only reason why I feel like you've kind of locked her in to say that is because you've actually said to her, I will die if you leave me.
Yeah, what a fucking loser.
Or is it dumping him at Christmas and then at some point saying, by the way, I'm having your kid? Like, what's the biggest dick move in all of that?
The thing is, they're both, like, because that's the thing. On the surface, Alexandra Holden, who plays Marion in this film, she's
good, though. She is good in this film.
She's really good. Although it drove me crazy when I was watching it. Just like, what the fuck do I know her from? And I'm not sure if you get it every so often, where you're just like, I refuse to look it up. I'm like, I can figure this out. And I know she's been in a bunch of movies, but I'm obviously thinking of Ross's underage girlfriend from Friends.
Yeah.
That was exactly, I was just like, that, because she had longer hair. I think that's what was throwing me. I think, of course, that's who she was playing. Back when Friends used to be problematic and all that shit, when just, you could have a girlfriend who was in college. I'm not sure if they make that.
So, do you know where I know her from?
Something bad, I'm guessing, by the look on your face.
It's not bad, but I'm probably the only person that knows her from this film. There was a sci-fi original called Wishcraft.
No, I have not had the pleasure, and surprise me.
Michael Weston, you'll know the face. I don't know if you know the name. He plays a kid who is given a monkey's paw deal.
Okay, I'm on board.
And he arranges for the popular girl in school to fall in love with him. Popular girl being Alexandra Holden.
All very Stephen King so far.
Yeah, the detective trying to solve the murders is Meatloaf.
Yeah.
The professor who, spoiler, because I know you will never watch this film, turns out to be the killer, and the one who gave him the monkey's paw turns out to is Austin Pendleton, who is the stuttering lawyer from My Cousin Vinny, but also in, and we haven't done that film yet, but Short Circuit. He's
that's almost weird we haven't done that film.
Yeah, and as soon as I saw her, I went, no fucking way, that's her from that Wish film. Yeah, it was.
Fairness, it doesn't have as shocking reviews. I was decided, is this going to be an absolute shocker? It just looks like a turn of the century, whatever kind of horror film.
Dude, in the vein of urban legend and things like that. It is literally,
on the front. It just looks like you say, urban legend / I Know What You Did Last Summer. It's 5.2 out of 10. What was the other one? The one I haven't seen, but I put a box set of DVDs recently, which sounds weird, but they were for this podcast specifically. So I won't see the movies because there are two that I want to cover, and they just happen to be in a box set in like a secondhand shop. I was like, that's fucking awesome. I'll buy those because I don't think they're easy to find online, blah, blah, blah. But the third film, the one I didn't necessarily want, but it appears that there's a bit of a cult following for it, is Cherry Falls.
Yes, with Brittany Murphy and Michael Biehn.
Yeah. See, you know all the names. Unbelievable. Is that any good? Because it's one of those movies. I have a vague recollection of it coming out, and I think unlike Wishmaster, it was like a bigger deal. It came to the cinema and stuff like that. But it very much fell into that kind of bracket, like you say, in the same way this kind of fell into the same bracket of the twisty horror of the early noughties.
Yeah.
That kind of mid-90s. It's a kind of stalker killer style thing, and it's just a little bit, for lack of a better term.
Again, watched it when it first came out. Kind of guessed who the killer was, and I think you will if you ever watch that film. But I don't think it's one for us to cover unless it was just like tongue in cheek for us to cover. If we run out of all this, if we decide to do like a weird slasher season,
we've not even done Scream yet. For heaven's sake, we've got to do.
We have done Scream.
Cherry Falls, but we
have done Scream.
We haven't done Scream, have we?
We did Scream.
Are you sure we've done this? Happens every so often. We've done like 250 podcasts, and every so often I'm just like I'm still convinced the complete opposite of Scream. I am 100% convinced that we've done Escape from New York, and you just keep telling me it's like, dude, we haven't done Escape from New York.
No,
I'm like,
we haven't done.
No,
yet.
I'm pretty sure we have. I'm like, no, dude, we have not done that goddamn movie. So that is the weird one. Escape from New
Episode
York.
84, October 25th, 2022. We did Scream.
Probably for Halloween season. That makes perfect
Yeah,
sense.
it was
You know,
Halloween
looking
season,
back,
yeah.
I think I fucking picked it as well.
Yeah, it was your pick. It wouldn't have been
Well,
my
there's a
pick.
whole
Like,
bunch of
I love the
Scream
film,
ones.
but yeah.
Anyway, but to bring it back to this,
that's what I was going to do as well. Yeah.
What's that?
Oh, sorry. I was going to bring it back as well. I was because we were talking about it.
Oh,
and you
yeah,
talked.
yeah.
I was just going to ask you because we're on about like because I said guessing the killer and stuff, and I'm sorry. I seem to be interrupting you a lot today.
Sorry, noise.
Is it just me,
Mm-hmm.
or is the twist and the ending obvious as fuck? Like
It
in this,
is-
and is it meant to be obvious?
I think it is supposed to be pretty obvious. The
Okay.
weird thing is, like I said, because I let like these kind of things come to me completely. Like I've heard some people say, like The Village was really obvious
Yeah.
when she jumped over that wall in The Village. I was in the cinema like, holy shit! It's modern day. Like I couldn't fucking believe it. It totally.
You didn't know Bruce Willis was a ghost, did you?
I had no idea Bruce Willis was a fucking ghost. Honestly, I remember one film in particular where it wasn't so. It was a twist, but no one seemed to give a shit. To bring it back to Shyamalan, I remember really liking Split, the Shyamalan film Split.
Yeah.
And when they did that reveal at the end, that it was
Or
sequel,
about being to Unbreakable.
yeah, a sequel,
Yeah.
sequel to Unbreakable, a movie which I genuinely I adore, Unbreakable. I was like that. The closest I've come to like losing my shit, like American style cinema. Like, oh,
Yeah.
oh my god! Like I just looked around. I was like, Bethan was just like she clearly didn't even know what it meant. Nobody gave a fuck, and I was like, I thought that was the coolest thing in the world that he made a secret superhero sequel. No one gave a fuck. It was unreal. But yeah, I am not 100% convinced. As obvious as this is, and rewatching it, it's mega obvious. It's not even subtle at all. And I think they have said, listen, we knew it was really obvious. It was more about going on the journey, blah, blah, blah. I've got a funny feeling I got to the end. I'm like, oh, they were dead. I would not be surprised. I'm thick as fuck when it comes to the complete opposite of you.
I got to the end and I thought, fucking, that's a haircut for the Man in Black. Jesus Christ.
The Man in Black. We'll get to that. We'll save the finale because that's my big issue with this film.
There you go. You had a point that I interrupted. So if you remember your point, bring it up.
Very silly point. It's just that it almost happened by accident. So this movie is 84 minutes long. And now I'm starting to think that or at some point, somebody's decided the perfect length for a Christmas movie, whether cheesy Christmas nonsense or otherwise, is 84 minutes. Because at the moment on Sky TV, and for our American listeners, that's just one of the cable kind of providers, they've got like a movie section. And as you'd expect at this time of year, a bunch of them are basically those nonsense Hallmark movies. So there's a bunch of films you've never heard of with a bunch of cheesy twats on the cover. And it's just, oh, we're back from the army and now it's Christmas, or our dogs are like in love, but it's also Christmas. That kind of wank. I just kind of started flicking through them just to see what they all were. I was like, how do they make so many of these goddamn movies? And I suddenly started noticing they were all exactly 84 minutes long. Like, there was one which wasn't, but I would say 90% of them were 84 minutes on the snout. And I was like, this is 84 minutes. I was like, is somebody's just decided that's the perfect length for Christmas films? Or if I was going to be cynical, is it because they're Hallmark movies and they're shown specifically on TV that length of time fits in perfectly with adverts in America? That could be the kind of boring version of that answer where it's just like, if it's 84 minutes, you can fit in all the adverts and it'll come in at exactly like fucking 2 hours or something.
I was hoping that my pick for next week was also going to be 84.
Oh,
89.
89, absolute
89.
bullshit.
I'm so upset.
I don't watch movies that are longer than 84 minutes at this time.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. But you're right, because those ones, because you get a lot lately, don't you? With the, like you said, you correctly said the kind of things you kind of missed about the executive woman who goes to the small town, falls in love with the lumberjack, and then decides to leave her room and stay in the small town because that's where she belongs. That's where her heart is. My mum has been watching them movies. Those movies.
I think it's fine to call them movies. It's absolutely fine in this case.
September, I believe, because again, in the UK, we have Christmas 24. So fucking from like September. I think we've had Christmas 24 just go on. I'm pretty sure.
I mean,
Like it's still going.
there's a place up in Edinburgh where I live where it's called the Dome, and it's an absolutely gorgeous building. It's all like Art Deco and stuff on the inside, and it's famous all year round. But it's especially famous at Christmas because it's called the Dome for the reason. The bit when you walk in, it all opens up, and they have a ginormous Christmas tree. It looks like something out of like Home Alone 2. You know, it's got that kind of vibe. But they know, they do good business all year round. But they know once that Christmas tree goes up, business is a fucking booming. It's the place to go in Edinburgh.
Yeah.
So they're putting up their Christmas tree just a week earlier every year. This year it was like before Halloween, which I always say is genuinely unforgivable. Like once you get to November, I'm not so much on board, but I'm like, all right, cool. Some people get in the spirit earlier. Putting it up in September, October, I'm like, come on, what are we doing here, guys? But they can see the money. And in fairness, it does look cool when you walk past it, but I'm just not sure I'm ready for Christmas in October. I just think it's all a bit silly. Not that I'm criticizing, well, I am criticizing you, Mum. I do think that's a little bit mental, but each to
I'll
their own,
maybe join a club because I've criticized her. But
okay.
Yeah, my mum was born on Christmas Day. She is a proper Christmas.
I love
baby,
Christmas,
so,
just to be clear. I'm not one of these people who's all cynical about Christmas. I genuinely love Christmas. I love watching the movies and all that. I just like waiting for Christmas. But anyway, going back to this film, because it is easy to forget every so often that it is a Christmas movie, because there's no trimmings. It's just a movie set on a creepy road, which is the reason I think it fundamentally works so well. And it is interesting the fact that you said that you didn't get on with it when you were younger. And part of it is, you change as you grow and, your taste change. And, one of the major things I noticed when I watched this film is the last time I watched this, I was probably more of a Richard or a Brad. Now I am 100% Frank Harrington in the front of that fucking car, who doesn't know the name of like modern artists, getting everything backwards, constantly grumpy. I'm like, I've become the old cunt in the front of the car. Yeah. It's absolutely fine. He's fantastic in this film.
I didn't even think I was that old until my kid asked me to help him with Minecraft. My kid's 6. I don't know what the fuck's going on anymore.
I have no idea.
I haven't got a clue. And then he's go, oh, don't worry, I figured it out. And then he showed me all, I am old now. I'm Frank, but to be fair, I think I've been Frank since I was 25. I honestly think I've been since I was 25.
You're an older, grumpier soul than me, to say the least. But to bring it back to the genre thing, it's just the fact that, this movie hit so well for me specifically based on my horror preference. So I love films that are all about like creepy unease and kind of allowing your imagination to run wild kind of thing. I'm a massive fan of less is more. And this film does so much with so little. Like I said, it's just a long road, they kind of give you the sense that there's forest on either side, which is inherently creepy. But you think of like one sequence in the film when all of a sudden there's just a pram on the road and the radio starts fucking playing up.
Yeah.
Very easy tricks, very Silent Hill. I find those super effective. In the same reason, I think even though it would have been kind of, maybe enforced by the limited budget, as you mentioned, it's like 900,000. The fact that they don't show the bodies, you just get these, and those moments in particular, they capture everything. They're genuinely funny. They capture that sense of black comedy. They capture that sense of dread, but then also the horror, because you're like, I don't know what, I know the body looks bad because suddenly he picks up the stick and it's got Brad's fucking ear on it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you can both laugh at it and be disgusted. But so much of the film is just like Blair Witch or what's the one in Paranormal Activity? It's just like, we're going to let your imagination run wild. Whereas my wife, for instance, she doesn't find those scary or interesting at all. She wants it all to be up front. She wants to see the monster. And the question I always ask is, what do you prefer? The first half of Jeepers Creepers or the second half of Jeepers Creepers? Because they're two different movies. And I couldn't be more the first half of Jeepers Creepers.
So that's a bit of a contradiction because I'm kind of on your wife's side when it comes to horror. I kind of want the action style of it. Chase, do the stabby stuff and move on kind of. But when it comes to Jeepers Creepers, it's so much scarier when it's a dude in a van and you don't know what the fuck's going on. As soon as his wings come out, as soon as his wings come out, it's fucking stupid. And sorry, go on.
No, it's interesting you said that. It just made me think, because I guess I'm going to be contradictory as well here, is that I'm talking about in terms of something being effectively scary, because I love slasher movies where, I love Freddy movies, I love Jason movies, where those are upfront, but I don't find them particularly scary. I love the genre. I love the genre.
No, I get
back
that.
To front.
Yeah.
But in terms of what has an actual impact on me, in terms of like creeping me out, like there's never a kind of more freakier moment. Like when I'm watching this film and Laura, she's just basically gone off the deep end and gone insane, and she's just looking out the window and you don't see shit, and she goes, oh, she starts talking about all the dead people outside the
Yeah,
window. And
yeah.
then, oh, no, no, that's it. That bitch is getting thrown out the fucking car. If you see the dead people, it's not as effective. But when she just says it and they just had that weird sound effect, I'm like, no, no, fuck this. I am out. Or she's
The
out, as
prob
it were.
the problem is she does get thrown out of the car. And then of
Yeah,
all
by
of
her,
them,
by
she
herself.
comes. And I love the way the black Cadillac gives it up. Black Cadillac, sorry. The black car gives her. It gives her back, and then she's just got like a hole in her head that you don't
Did she
see
give it back
again.
because she's
And everything.
annoying? Or
Yeah.
like, because, right. So I guess the question is, the first question, maybe you've got the answer to this, is does this happen to them because they don't know that they're dead? Is that the problem here?
Yeah, so I know. Well, they don't know they're dead, but I think they're in limbo. They're being ferried across. What I think is happening is they're being ferried to the other side.
But they're
But
being
they're being,
they're reluctant. So like, I
yeah.
guess you can say thematic or it's whatever. But because they don't know they're dead, they're almost like driving away from it,
But
kind of like they're not accepting it, basically.
I don't know if that is a decent case because the woman in white knows she's dead, but she's still the last one to go. Now, is she the last one to go
Is she
because she's
involved?
punishing them?
Yeah.
Well, no, she was the woman in the other car. She was the woman in
Yeah.
the other car with the baby, so she was in the same impact. But
Hmm.
she's the last one to be picked up because the woman in white says
But she'd
says
be
to
the only one who knows that she's dead. So, like, because she always seems more self-aware than they do. Like, she's creepy
and
as
that's what
fuck.
I'm saying. So she knows she's dead.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
why is
'Cause
she left till last? If your argument is, and I'm not saying this wrong, but if your argument is that the reason they're on this road is because they don't know they're dead,
Mhm.
but she's on that road and she's there taunting them, but she knows she's dead, but she's the last one to go.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It doesn't all quite fit together because I think there's something to that, but it doesn't, like, all the pieces don't quite fall into place. And I actually think
Yeah.
she is one of if you exclude the kind of final sequence, which doesn't really work, she does. And the fact that she looks like a supermodel doesn't, it just feels out of place for this film, which feels, for a supernatural horror, the whole thing about the film is that the family feels very grounded and realistic, and then
Yeah.
suddenly you've got this like supermodel mum who just happens to be like hanging about. As you say, with Frank talking about like the lady in white and stuff, it gives her like a genuine supernatural presence where in reality she was just driving the other car, so that doesn't match up. In the same way as I love the fact that Laura comes back, for instance, and she's got that fucking hole in her head, and let's be clear, the kind of brain orgasm sequence is one of the more disturbing slash funny sequences in this entire film. But it's like everyone else, they die, so it's kind of representative of what happens to them in the crash, and then the car comes up and drags them off. Laura gets taken away, then she gets dropped back almost as if, oh, well, she's a lot, maybe she kind of survived, but then they put her in the back of the car where she's dead again,
Yeah.
and they just carry on driving anyway. I don't know what the rules are. I mean, it doesn't really matter. The film's 84
No.
minutes long. It's a vibes movie, but there are some questions which, I don't think have answers, to be honest.
Big question is the Christmas ham that seems to be forgotten about. Gets mentioned, gets shown, and it's just in the back of the car, just, I don't know, rotting away.
Well, then there's more emphasis on, the uncle's. I'm not sure if the uncle has bought it for them or they're buying it for the uncle, the shotgun in the back of the car. And I was like, well, that's a
Oh,
weird
it was
present.
the Christmas present he wanted, so they
He
bought it
wanted,
for the
fair
yeah,
enough.
yeah.
In fairness, I'm not a gun guy. If you bought me a shotgun for Christmas, if I was like Christmas Day, I was like, oh, that's a big buy. I wonder what that is. I opened it up and it was a genuine shotgun. I would be stoked. I would be so. It just makes me the complete opposite of like Wayne's World, where it's like, you bought me a gun rack. I don't even have a gun to nestate the need for a gun rack. If you bought me a shotgun, the next thing I'd buy would be a gun rack, because I'm like, I plan on getting more of these. Because you can't just have one shotgun. I'm like, that would be such a cool gift. It'd be a weird gift, but it'd be a fucking awesome.
Yeah, it kind of feels right for like the American like backwoods style. You
Oh, yeah,
like
absolutely,
hunting
yeah,
and
yeah.
things like that. The was it the NRA?
It's very
Yeah.
the NRA. It's
Yeah.
very odd to us. I mean, when I was driving through like upstate New York, and suddenly you go through like kind of area which away from like the touristy areas, and you suddenly just see gun shops, and they're just next to normal shops, and suddenly you're just like, as a British person, you're like, that is weird as fuck. Just the idea that I could just roll in and just like, I'm gonna buy a gun today. It's just absolutely insane. But not being critical, it is what it is. It's just
The
weird.
closest we ever had was going into the angling shops, and in the
100%.
angling shops, obviously they had all the fishing stuff, but they just had a corner where it was like air rifles, gat guns, all those kind of things.
Or there would be like an
guns and everything.
army surplus store would have them as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Or
And
that,
a crossbow and a fucking crossbow.
That is weird. I
Yeah.
never got a crossbow. I mean, we never went beyond slingshots, but those felt dangerous enough. But I'm sure
Yeah.
you and your brother were off shooting each other with handguns or whatever.
Oh no, 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 no. I
Crazy.
mean, look, if you can't do physical damage with just a brick, then you
What's
don't
the
need
point?
anything more.
What
Yeah.
is the point?
Do you
Ridiculous.
know we talk like so this film?
Mhm.
I knew I got this film confused because I have seen Dead End, and the
Mhm.
premise of Dead End, they're going down a road and there's a black car that takes them away.
Mhm.
I confused it with a film called Black Cadillac, also released in 2003.
There's a lot of films coming, a lot of horror films coming out in
Yeah,
2003. Although it
starring
was, they were really, sorry to butt in, but
yeah,
2003, because of it was like a combination of Scream going into Sixth Sense, plus all those like Japan J horror films, which were like massive at the time. Like horror just felt, in the same way that like comedy was massive in like the kind of later 2000s. Because remember we've said on previous podcasts, like because of like The Hangover and Anchorman and
yeah,
all these films, like every year there were like two or three massive comedies which would do huge numbers, which has just disappeared. Around this time, like turn of the century, it was horror movies. There were
yeah.
just like 4 or 5 massive horror films every year. Sorry to butt in there.
No, no, it's fine. So starring Dennis Quaid, right?
Mhm. Good
Yeah,
start.
no,
Good
sorry,
start.
no, Randy Quaid, Randy Quaid, wrong Quaid, wrong Quaid. Yeah, not a good
Can
start.
be. Well, I don't know. It can be. He's been good, but he can
Yeah.
also be terrible.
So it's basically about three teenagers driving down a stretch of deserted road,
Mhm.
being chased by a black Cadillac, by a black car,
Yeah, it
driving
sounds
them
like
off
the
the
same.
road.
Sounds very
It,
similar.
yeah, it is literally pretty much. Well, no, it's not literally pretty much the same thing. Fuck hell, can I say literally pretty much? Is that just a contradiction to myself? But it's just about three kids being chased by a black Cadillac, and they pick up Randy
Mhm.
Quaid, who is like just a hitchhiker, and then things happen. But you think it's supernatural, but it's not. But I remember it being good, but I completely confused it with this film. And when I watched it, I was like, "Fucking hell, this is not exactly what I was remembering."
It's weird because, like you say, like the premise sounds very similar. And of course, one of the selling points is like this is all very, I was going to say, like, at its core, it's like a short form version of Lost with a hint of Twin Peaks thrown in for good measure. And that's not just because of the obvious kind of Ray Wise as Frank Harrington, he plays Leyland Palmer in Twin Peaks.
Yeah,
Vibes wise, it's got that kind of combination. But in reality, the actual structure of the film and the actual premise is very Twilight Zone, isn't it?
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and what you've talked about there, into obviously I haven't seen that film, sounds very Twilight Zone as well. But keep coming back to the fact that what elevates this and what makes it, I think, fundamentally special is that family dynamic. That's what I always keep coming back to. It's
Yeah,
like,
I did because
sorry, go
sorry,
for it.
that one is two brothers and the best friend, so
Yeah,
you
yeah,
don't
yeah,
get
yeah.
the family dynamic like the squabbles and everything. I
Well,
won't.
just imagine
I
this
won't
movie
carry on.
with like
Yeah,
3 Richards. Like,
I won't.
it's great when you have
Sorry,
lines
just
like,
one
oh,
thing.
sorry,
I
go
won't
for it.
carry on going on about that film again. I just want to make one more thing. The reason why I brought
Yeah,
it
yeah,
up as
go for
well
it.
is because one of the best names ever for a
Mhm.
character,
Okay. Oh.
C.J. Longhammer.
All right, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I was going to say,
Yeah,
is this really going to be that good? It's like CJ Longhammer is pretty badass, actually.
yeah,
Do you want to be called CJ Longhammer though? I feel like right, you've got to have a level of confidence to pull that off. You've got
yeah.
to,
I know.
you've got to have your shoulders back. You've got to be like, all right, I'm gonna fucking pull this off because you can't be like a shy retiring kid and be called CJ Longhammer. Like
No, and
you've got to
you've got to
be.
be like fucking down there as well. I think. Just, I mean, your
That's
name is
the other
Longhammer.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, if you, it's got to be at least a decent size, hasn't it? As you get,
yeah,
when you're younger, you just need to be confident. As you get older, you're like, you can get away with like a decent. It doesn't have to be, fucking ginormous, but it would be like, oh, like the question would be, it's like, oh, I slept with this guy. His name's CJ Longhammer. There's no way someone's like, wait, his name's CJ, is it? And you're like, oh no, it's actually pretty
yeah,
small. It just wouldn't work.
yeah.
It just wouldn't work. But to come back to the family dynamic, it's just. I know it kind of unravels as the movie goes on, but it's like at the start when it captures all those wonderfully spiky but inconsequential nuisances of married life. Like the one that stands out to me is when Laura is drinking water and it just drives Frank up the wall. It's like, I love my wife more than anything in the world. We have a fantastic relationship, but when she drinks orange juice, I just want to throw out the fucking window. It's just something about the way she drinks out, and I just feel like every relationship has that.
Yeah,
one
we
moment.
do. We do.
Only in this movie, of course, he cheats on her. The kid's not his. I don't think we have those
But
additional issues in our marriage.
for me, it's my wife. Not my wife's eating. My wife with a meal because
Mm-hmm.
she loves. All right, some would say I eat fast, and maybe she says I shovel it in. But then when we have anything, she'll eat everything with a knife and fork, even like chips. But she will cut the chips into thirds And
Yeah, okay.
it takes forever. And she'll argue she doesn't, but she will cut a chip, like a
Mhm.
third of it, and then put it with something else. I'm like, fucking, I finished my food 20 minutes ago. I've gone to
Yeah.
the, like,
I
like, what's
mean, the
going on?
thing is, there's a middle ground. You might be eating the food too fast, which is, my wife eats a lot quicker than me. I feel like I've caught up a bit, blah blah blah. But cutting a chip into thirds, if you told me that if the next sentence was my wife is also a serial killer, I'd be like, all right, yeah, that all adds up. It's just, it's like when people, it's always those low key food things. It's like if somebody like bites across a Kit Kat, especially like a four-finger one, you're just like they clearly have like kids like locked up in the basement. Or one of the guys I used to work with, when he ate a banana, he would just immediately take the entire banana out the skin. I'm just like, that's psycho behavior. It's just psycho behavior.
So I was
Here
about
we
to
go.
agree with
Here we
you,
go.
but I do the banana thing.
Oh, dude, you're an
I
absolute
do. I
lunatic.
do take it out because
Why?
I'm
It
already
has
in the
the
kitchen.
perfect handle.
I'm already in the kitchen. I'm coming back to the office, so I take it out of the skin, put the kitchen in put the skin in the food waste. I've got the banana. Otherwise, I got to take another wasted trip to chuck it away.
Absolute fucking monkey behavior, that is. Get your ass up a tree. Crazy stuff. Speaking of crazy stuff, and I feel like you see it it's like an American movie trope. I think of like the Griswolds and all these other things obviously have in this film. It's singing in the car, right? I
Yeah.
don't think that happens in British cars. I just think our cringe
So-
levels are far too high. I have never sung with my family in the car.
So carpool karaoke has happened,
Mhm.
like where we've sung to a song or something on, but it's on the radio.
Yeah, that's different.
We have
That is
never
different.
turned around and gone, oh,
That's
let's
different.
just break out into song. There's nothing on.
Yeah.
There's no fucking backing track. Let's just break out into song. That is not happening in British culture.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
a massive difference. So if there's a song on and suddenly you start singing along and then you both sing along, it's a bit of silly fun on a long drive.
Yeah.
The idea that, like you say, you're sitting there in silence and then somebody says, "Let's sing a song," and then you just do a cappella style. No, it's the stuff of absolute lunacy. Although speaking of lunacy, you mentioned it earlier. Richard carrying a porno mag, like I said, Richard is the most 2000s thing in this film. And that is an incredibly 2000s thing. And I'm sure any kid watching this now, they'd be like, what the fuck? He's just carrying a porno mag with him? Right. It seems insane. And to an extent, it is. However, take yourself back to 2003, where porn was very, very difficult to come by.
Yep.
I know the internet was kind of a thing, but most people didn't have it with them. You sure as shit didn't have it at your phone. You wouldn't have it at your fucking grandma's house, I'll tell you that much right fucking now. He's supposed to be what? Like, I know he was played by like a 24-year-old at the time, but he's supposed to be in his late teens, I assume. And like, is a porno mag up the sleeve that insane? Maybe going out into the woods in the middle when it's as weird as it is and being like, I just have to whack it. I mean, that speaks to just how horny like teenage kids are. Where I'm just like, listen, I might get killed here, but I absolutely have to rip the head off it.
The ultimate psycho behavior. I kind of understand picking your favorite picture and then just concentrating on the picture, but then taking it out of the magazine and hanging it on the tree. So did he take it out of the magazine then, or did he already have it pre ready to go? Like,
the thing is, though, again, because it's like now you have all these, it's like the internet, bajillions of options. Back then, you would have like a porno mag. So I'm sure he probably is pretty prepared for this moment. Although I don't think it's the craziest thing he does in this film. I actually think the craziest thing he does in this film, right? And this is when it's really going off the deep end. And another thing this movie does brilliantly is they start questioning reality at the perfect time. Like, in this film, I always ask myself, at what point would I really start freaking out on this trip? Like, when I was like, this is like weird. And they start asking the questions, like, when I did the intro speech, when he's like, oh, it could be aliens. By that point, you're like, would it be that fucking weird if it was aliens? This is getting weird as shit. And then Dad starts talking about like ghosts and stuff. I feel like they start talking about weird shit exactly when I imagine I would if I was on this trip.
Yeah.
But so at this point in the film, things are really starting to go off. I think Brad's dead. God, they can't get off this road, blah, blah, blah. So Richard goes into the woods on his own and smokes a joint. Now, I get Frank getting on the booze. If I was scared shit like this stuff's going weird, I'm like, all right, this will set me down. I'll have, some of the hard liquor. I can't imagine anything worse than getting stoned in that situation. I'm not sure if you've ever been stoned. All it does is freak you the fuck out. And I'm like, if there were ghosts and stuff involved and I smoke a joint, I would just collapse in panic. I'd be
it wasn't so much him smoking, it was the way he smoked it as
Oh, well,
well.
that's unforgivable as well. Yeah.
Yeah, the way he was smoking it was absolutely insane. I was like, that's not how you like. I don't understand how you withhold that or like taking the drag or the way. Oh my god, everything about that scene was absolutely nuts. Going back to Frank as well, and we
Mhm.
said like typical as he got on, and I know you've mentioned the family dynamic and everything.
Yeah, yeah.
No, so not so much more the family dynamic than Dad having, sorry, Frank having perfect typical dad energy no
Awesome.
matter
I
what
love him in this
the
film.
word the words shall I drive are uttered a few times and he's always
Mhm.
said no and basically you can see it as well. I'm not letting my not son-in-law soon to be son-in-law drive, fuck that.
No.
I'm not letting my teenage stoner kid drive
Mhm.
and I'm not letting a woman drive. It's basically what's happening. Like I don't
It's
think
old
that
school. It's old school masculinity is exactly what it
yeah, I
is.
don't think Lynn has ever been able to be behind the wheel, bless her. And I mean, the passive aggressive comment that he made to the daughter, what was the daughter's name again? Sorry, Marion.
Marion.
What he made to Marion was, oh no, I've become accustomed to this car. Like, all right,
I
she
mean,
crashed
right,
through
that,
before.
but it comes down to this idea of like, like I've become Frank at the front of the car. Is like, if I was in that situation, how far would we have to go down this route? How mental would things have to go? How bad a shape would I have to be in before I hand over the keys to my wife? The answer is, I'd be like, Frank, never. I'm just like, no, I'm driving. I'm driving. It's just not
I
fucking
mean, yeah,
happening.
but in your wife's defense, she doesn't
She
have a
can't
license.
drive.
She
No, she does
doesn't drive.
not. No,
Yeah,
I'm giving
I
her a
mean,
hard time.
but for me, if
Mhm.
we go out and I'm terrible for it. If we go on long drives, or even if we go on short drives, if we go out as a family, I drive.
Yeah,
And my wife says, "Oh, you can have a drink when we go for food, and I'll drive." No, 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 I want to get there safely. I've actually said those words to her.
yeah.
Bless her.
You a couple
Yeah,
of reveals on this podcast. You're just revealing the end of movies. You're telling her that she can't drive. I mean, both those things might be true, but shocking
no,
behavior.
I mean, I will reiterate. I think my wife is a good driver.
Mhm.
She's not a good parker.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
Yeah,
Those are two different things in
yeah.
fairness. So, oh, I'm a good flyer, but I can't really land the plane. No, no big deal.
Yeah, I
Um,
can fly perfectly, but as soon as we land, you're fucked.
Well,
Like,
like it brings us back to like the car. Like you said, like obviously Frank's looking back at the cars. Like none of these people are driving. Do you think Frank and Laura have a disdain? Do you think they know Brad is lame as well? Because I know we've talked about Richard,
yeah, I
and he's
think they
very
do.
much like the kid of the time and stuff like that. And he's a bit of a douche, but he's not as lame as Brad. And like you said, you mentioned it like ages ago on this podcast about those like little moments where he's like, "Oh, if you leave me, I'll kill myself." He's all very grabby in the back of the car. I'm like, I have never been happier to see a dude die in a movie than Brad. I'm just like, Brad's got to go. He is the fucking lamest. Like even when and I know it's very much of its time, but he's like, he looks over and Richard looks over and was like, "Was your entire school gay or just the baseball team?" I'm just like, yeah. He is gay, isn't he? Not gay as in homosexual, gay in the older sense of the term, in the 2003 sense of the term, when everything lame was gay, but gay didn't
It
mean
was
gay and stuff like that. It was just a different time.
it was the 2003 hairstyle and earrings as well, which got me for Brad.
It was in the left though. I did double
Yeah,
check that because I'm not sure if it was the same rules in America, but when I was younger, certainly in high school, if you had having an earring was acceptable. I never had one, but some people did. My brother had one, but it had to be in the left. You could only have one, and it had to be in
yeah,
the left. If you had it in
yeah,
the right, it was seen as being like an open statement of homosexuality for some reason. I don't know why that is, but it just was.
yeah. I had my earpiece, and it was the left as well.
Yeah, it just had to be the left, right?
Yeah,
Like you could, like if you had the left one, that was cool. If you had the right one, you were gay, and if you had them both, you were a pirate. Those were just the rules. I don't know why that was. It's just one of those
I mean,
strange
to be
things.
fair, I think because the people that had the two, they also had the eye patch. I think it went hand in hand. If you got two earpiece, you got the eye patch. Of course,
Yeah,
you're a
yeah, yeah.
pirate. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned earlier in this podcast about like how grim this film is. Like for all, like the black comedy and stuff, and there are genuine laughs in this movie. It is relentlessly grim because the family is so dysfunctional.
yeah.
And it's like there's one moment in this film, like when the shit's really hit the fan, and at this point, it's just Frank and Marion left in the car. And Frank has this kind of realization. He goes, "Oh no, this could be like a military road, and we're going to keep driving, and we're going to get to the coast." And you think, "Oh, there's this moment of like brief moment of hope." And in the exact same sequence, back Laura comes apparently from the dead to be absolutely mental again, and just immediately starts talking about like, "Oh, I know about the affair." She's talking about how he can have sex with her in any way he wants to in front of a
Yeah.
daughter, and immediately
The
like,
way
"Oh
she
no,
said that
it's
as well.
back to like
I
horrific
mean,
horror."
the way she said, I mean, anything.
anything.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then next thing you know, she's talking about people in the woods, and then she's giving herself a brain orgasm in front of a husband and a daughter, and just like, oh no, no, this is grim all the way through. And
Yeah.
like even the sequel, like when she gives herself the brain orgasm and she basically falls down the floor to die, she's like, Daddy, I made the cheerleading squad. This is the happiest day of my life. That's those lines for some odd reason perfectly encapsulate everything about this movie. It's funny, grim, and sad all at the same time somehow.
Yeah. I did groan as well at the fucking they're trying to get to the town. I can't remember the name of the town that was on the map
Oh,
Macron or
Marcotte.
where
It was the
Marcotte.
name of the doctor,
The
wasn't it?
doctor. Oh
Yeah.
my god, I groaned to fuck at that. I was like, Jesus, did you need that?
Well,
Question about the
that's what
end.
the
So
ending does. Yeah,
so
yeah.
the question about the end is the doctor dead? Or is she about to be dead? Because the man in black is picking her up. Is the man in black the actual ferryman, or is he just a guy that
No,
witnessed the crash?
he's just a guy who witnessed the crash.
Because
That's it.
even his questions, I like his questions to the doctor, like fucking talk about unethical. He goes up and he goes,
Well,
"Oh, is she the one I've seen? Okay, tell
yeah.
me everything that I'm not meant to know. Okay, well, I'll tell you everything. Random stranger that called the police.
I've got that whole section down as needlessly spooky exposition. It's fucking like as much as I love what 78 minutes of this film, and I know I'm probably warm on you. I genuinely love this film. Like I said, it just, as I mentioned earlier, horror in particular, outside of comedy, is the most subjective genre out there. You can still make a good movie, blah, 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 but in terms of whether it works for you, it's incredibly subjective. And for me, this just ticks all the boxes in terms of tone.
Yeah,
So for like 70, 79 minutes, I am just fucking on board. I love every character in this film. I love the setup, blah, blah, blah. And then you get to that section at the end, and you've already mentioned it. Why is the Men in Black? Why does he look like a fucking magician? Well, the answer is because they cast a fucking
yeah.
magician.
Steve Valentine.
He's
Yeah,
even got a magician's name, Steve Valentine. You know he wasn't born with that name. Nobody's called Steve Valentine. That's a
that's where
fucking
he.
magician's name.
That's where he was born.
Magician, Idaho, is that a place? I have no idea.
Bishop Briggs in Scotland.
Was he?
Yeah,
Jesus Christ. I was not expecting that at all. He comes
yeah,
across as very American, but that whole sequence, I think the way it's shot is jarring. The exposition is terrible. I hate his aesthetic. I think there's a million different actors you could pick. And
I get I get that, but I really think if you've got that actor, that's fine. Give him a fucking haircut.
yeah, the haircut's
Oh
terrible.
my
I
god.
hate the haircut. But just before, this is just before the ending. Because we haven't mentioned the fact that, the movie does go incredibly dark. I know we've mentioned about it being a little bit grim. When Frank suddenly decides he's going to kill himself, you're like, and leave
Yeah.
Marion on her own, that's dark as fuck. It feels like 2 minutes later, he's punching his daughter in the face, which is a brutal sequence. But then it's cut against like the dumbest part of the movie. We mentioned Richard like doing a bunch of dumb things. By this point, they're all at their wits' end. They're like, there is clearly something supernatural. We are fucked here. And they do two stupid things. They literally say, it's like, we're not stopping again, because whenever we stop, somebody dies. So what they immediately do, they stop and they
Yep.
decide we're going to walk through the forest.
Yeah.
Why? Why the fuck would you decide that? It's a great moment because I love like that idea that they walk through the forest and they come back to the other side of the car. Like it's just super spooky. But the reasoning to get them to do that is, well, it doesn't exist. There's no reason for it. And then when it's just the two of them and they go back and it's like, oh, it's the same fucking cabin. Somebody's fucking with me. He goes into the dark ass cabin on his own, lighting matches. I'm like, dude, you deserve to die for that. You absolutely deserve to die for that. Of course, he dies minutes later when dies again, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But there's some pretty dumb stuff that happens at the end of this film. Oh, excuse me.
I think though, like because the more that they're deteriorating through this film, like everything's going wrong for them. Any choice they make, it all goes. And at the end, the only decisions they can make are the stupid decisions.
I love when they come back from the woods and there's like, all right, there's no way I'm getting back in that car.
Yeah.
Neither am I. And then he just
Yeah.
immediately cut to them in the car again. I was like,
Yeah.
that's kind of clever. So it kind of slowly becomes a little bit too silly towards the end. And as I said, as we mentioned, that final sequence in the hospital, the Men in Black, I get what they're going for. I don't think they pulled it off. And if I was going to throw tiny bit more shade on this film, there's a kind of almost kind of mid-credit sequence where it bizarrely cuts to two guys like at the crash sequence.
Yeah.
It feels like it's from a different movie completely. I just don't get the need for that shot at
No.
all. They just need
Not
to
a
get to
clue.
84 minutes
Yeah.
to fit into the Hallmark kind of, templates. I have no idea, but hey ho.
Do you know the Man in Black as well? Do you know where you know him from, or more importantly, you know his voice from?
I have no idea.
He is Harry Flynn in surprise, surprise, Uncharted 2, Among
Oh,
Thieves.
that's
He
pretty
is,
cool.
he's the evil treasure hunter that teams up with
Well,
the villain.
that is a very good video game.
It is a
Very good
very
video
good
game,
video
which
game.
would usually
Yeah.
kind of give us an in into the video game section, but we're not quite there yet.
No, no.
We're actually at favorite scene. Are you happy to jump to that?
Rob, take.
Oh, Rob, I always put these the wrong order. I did it one
Yeah.
week and I copy and paste these things across. So Rob Take is always below favorite scene. So I need to
I mean, I
sort
can
that.
go
I'll sort
favorite
that.
scene if you want. I can go
No,
favorite
Rob
scene.
Take,
Yeah.
I insist. So this is where Rob picks out something innocuous that most folk wouldn't have noticed, but inexplicably drives him crazy. The floor is yours, sir.
I've got two.
Oh, of course you have. Of course you
Yeah.
have.
The vanishing clock. So early in the film, the family notices their watches and clocks have stopped. Yet later on, Frank glances at his watch as if it's working. So he's either pretending or time itself is trolling him. Like he's looked at his.
The only thing I'll say is how many times I just kind of naturally look at my watch without actually taking in any of the information.
Yeah.
And I look
Okay.
at my watch and Bethan will go like, "Oh, so what's the time?" I'm like, "I have no idea." She just looked at your watch. I was like, "I looked at my watch. I didn't look at the time." It's two different things.
Yeah, I don't
It's
know.
still
though. I
weird.
mean,
I'll give you-
they
yeah,
made
I'll
a
give
big
you that.
impact, a big thing about the time.
Of course,
The,
yeah.
the one that really got me
Mhm.
was how Frank got over his gunshot wound pretty quickly.
A point blank. I know it was supposed to be
Yeah.
buckshot rather than, but he was
I
shot
still
from
think point blank it would have taken his leg off.
I mean, even if it didn't take his leg off, the injury is going to be bad. Like
Yeah.
Laura was what, like 2 foot away from him, and I think we mentioned earlier. It's just worth mentioning. She is amazing in that sequence when she goes insane and she's eating the cake. And I think there's, we mentioned earlier, you don't see the dead bodies, you just get a hint of them. The
Yeah.
bit when she hands over the drawing of Richard and he's just all in little pieces is absolute genius.
Yeah.
But to bring it back to your point, when she shoots him in the leg, I'm like, if it doesn't take your leg off, that's ending your day. You're not
Yeah.
driving, you're not walking, you're not
walking
hobbling.
through the forest. He walked through that forest fucking fine.
He not only that, but his daughter Marion put on like the lamest bandage of all time. It was
Yeah.
just like one little wrap. It didn't even look tight. I was just like, nah, dude, your leg's fucked. But yeah, he just runs into the fucking bushes. Absolutely not. But I guess the argument is they're dead. It doesn't matter. It's like the Matrix. It's in
But
their head.
yeah,
blah, blah,
okay, but they don't know they're dead. So wouldn't
blah.
you
I know,
question it?
no,
No,
I'm
but wouldn't
trying-
you
I'm-
question it? I've
No,
been shot in
no.
the leg. Now my leg is perfectly fucking fine.
I'm trying to reach for, like, I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm trying to provide a counter argument. I am 100% with you. It's absolute cobbler. So yeah, great shout.
It is bonkers, yeah.
Favorite scene, mine is probably finding Brad's body. As I mentioned, like the combination of visual, physical comedy, but it's written as darkly comic, but also works as actual horror. I know it was down to the budget and stuff, as I just mentioned there. I could have just as easily picked the stuff about Richard, where Laura hands over the drawing. I think that's absolutely genius and captures that macabre tone they're going for. So I'll go for that. And the fact that you're watching it from the body's perspective is also genius.
I mean, I agree with that one. I think it's great, but I got to go with the woman in white jump scare. I mean, when she suddenly appears on the road as the film's most memorable scare, it's simple but effective. It's you get it playing on the tension of the family's endless drive and the eerie silence before her arrival.
And we didn't even mention the fact that, this is a limited budget. The big sequence in terms of like visual effects has to be the bit in the forest where Richard is smoking a joint. The woman in white suddenly shows up. She starts kissing, which of course you're like, well, what the fuck? Why would he even get involved in that? If we're going on the basis he's an 18-year-old boy who's clearly very horny and this fucking supermodel starts kissing you, as weird as it is, you probably go for it if you're an 18-year-old boy. And then she like bites his bottom lip off. It looks so fucking gross.
In between that as well, he's going, "I loved you."
Yeah,
He's got no
it's
lip.
such a bizarre
Yeah.
sequence. And it's the one moment, because there aren't actually, other than like the bit of Laura's brain, which we already mentioned, there's not a great deal of actual physical horror.
No.
It's all like hinted at. So it's just,
Yeah.
it's really just the brain sequence and the lip sequence. But in fairness, if you're going to have 2 moments of genuine, like kind of physical, gross out horror, like super effective.
Yeah.
But great job. Oscar season. So this is where we hand out 3 Oscars and 3 Azzies. As if nothing else, we are all about balance.
Sorry, did you say that wrong or did I mishear? I could have sworn you said Azzies.
I think I said Razzies. I may have
Okay,
said-
maybe I misheard it.
I might have. I wouldn't put it beyond me. I say things wrong all the fucking time. The Oscar for Best Performance in a Leading Role in a Movie that is clearly never going to win an Oscar goes to Ray Wise as Frank Harrington. Now, I am not joking here. I genuinely think Ray Wise is amazing in this film. I love his dress code. I love his demeanor. I love his descent. I think he's the closest one to actually going on a journey in this film. You can kind of make an argument for Marion, but I think it's really Frank. Everyone in this film is good, except for maybe Brad. But I think Ray Wise absolutely steals the show in this film. And I think he's brilliant from start to finish. I know I mentioned the fact that, what's her name? The actress, Lin Shaye. She has her moment. She's brilliant for like 15, 20 minutes and comes in and kind of almost like runs over the movie. But as a start to finish experience, I think Ray Wise is genuinely fantastic. To the Oscar for Best Fuck That Leave the Bitch moment goes to Lin Shaye as Laura Harrington. As soon as she starts banging about dead people in the woods, she's got to go. I am kicking her out of the car. It's like, the example I always use is, what the fuck was the J-Horror? Second time we brought up J-Horror today, with the little kid where he makes that weird noise.
The Grudge.
The Grudge.
Yeah.
If I wake up and that kid's on top of the bed, I'm opening up.
I'm moving out. Yeah.
I'm throwing. Well, no, I'm not even. I'm throwing hands. I'm throwing hands. I'm not like, if you're okay, you're not a ghost kid. You're just a kid who just happens to be there looking all great. I'm like, that's on you. You shouldn't have been here looking all great and stuff. I am just like, it might not work, but my first reaction is going to be throwing punches. And I don't even care who this person is. If she's like, oh, I'm seeing dead people in the woods, I'm like, oh, no, there's too much going on. She's just got to walk. That's the fucking end of it. And number 3, the Oscar for most resoundingly 2003 thing in any movie goes to Mick Cain as Richard Harrington for the many reasons we've already explained. Although, just to add inside, his necklace is so 2003.
Yeah.
So 2003.
And his headphones just listening to Marilyn Manson. Or
Brilliant.
Any kind of new metal.
Everything is 2003. Like, the only thing maybe a little bit more 2003 is if he was listening to Slam or fucking Limp Bizkit or something like that. But very much on the nose.
Okay, so the Oscar for the best performance by a road in a leading role has to go to The Endless Highway. It's just one stretch of tarmac. It's infinite dread. There's no exits, no rest stops. It's just pure existential mileage.
Great shout. Great shout.
For best supporting creepy passenger, The Woman in White. She's silent, she's spectral, she's always riding shotgun with death, minimal dialogue, maximum goosebumps.
And baby made out of what? Chewed ham? I don't know what was going on with that baby. There was something weird going on. Whatever it wasn't good. Let's just leave it at that.
And finally, the best use of a hearse as a plot device has to go to the Black Hearse. I mean, forget Chekhov's gun. This is Chekhov's funeral car. Every time it rolls up, someone's ticket is getting punched. Or has gotten punched.
Like, how, if you were watching this in the cinema with your wife, like, how early into the film you would have been like, they're all dead, just to be clear, and everyone's like, for fuck's sake, Rob, just give it a break for 5 minutes.
As soon as he almost in quotes has the car crash at the beginning, they're dead.
Brilliant.
They're all dead.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
You've just watched Sixth Sense. You know what the score is. I am genuinely concerned I didn't figure this film out at all, which makes me feel quite dumb. The Razzie for Lamest Boyfriend goes to the clearly lame Brad Miller. The second Razzie for Most Out-of-Place Actress goes to Amber Smith as the Lady in White. I totally agree with you. She is good in this film. She feels like she's walked in from another movie. She absolutely does. And the Razzie for Terrible Finale in an Otherwise Awesome Movie goes to 2003's Dead End. It is genuinely upsetting when a film you love just doesn't stick the landing. I need to revisit, and it is one I really want to cover on the podcast. I remember another film I felt in a similar fashion, maybe even more strongly about it, because I thought when I was watching Sunshine, Danny Boyle Sunshine from 2007, 8, whenever it was, I remember when I was watching it, I was like, this might be one of my favorite sci-fi movies of all time. Like, I absolutely loved it for like the 85 minutes of the runtime, and then I just couldn't get on with the end. Maybe if I go back and, like you say, you feel differently, and maybe it's a bit more existential. But I remember the time I just felt like they shit the fucking bed with the ending. But
I'd be willing to cover it because I've never seen it.
Oh, dude, like it like, and I don't want to like shit on the end because I've not gone back and I bought it on Blu-ray, but I've just not gone back and revisited it. It is a genuinely great film with an amazing cast, wonderfully shot. Again, high concept premise and all that jazz. The end's weird, but even if I went back and I was like, I still don't like the ending. If you hated the ending, there's more than enough brilliance in that film.
I mean, the reason why I've never gone to it. The trailer made me feel like it was like Event Horizon-ish. Well, like the sun was but the sun is a god, and they're not allowed to go to the god. Like, and then all of a sudden, this one thing like Sam Neill is the guy controlling.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it just felt very Event Horizon-y, and I just didn't. Yeah,
I know you're not the biggest fan of Event Horizon. I mean,
yeah.
I do, as we've covered in this podcast in the past, I do like Event Horizon. This is a much better movie than Event Horizon.
Yeah,
And
I get
it,
it.
like, it does deal with those kind of existential issues, but in a much more subtle way. It's,
Yeah.
yeah, I wouldn't put your lack of interest in or of Event Horizon put you off this film. Very
Well,
good.
no,
I
I'd
can
be
see
willing
why
to
it did in
cover
the
it.
first
So
place.
yeah. Right, for me. So sorry, was that all your Razzies?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so the Razzie for the worst family GPS award goes to the Harringtons. Who needs directions when you can drive in circles through purgatory? Truly redefining Lost. I mean,
Although I will say, right, I know fundamentally it would have been irrelevant and would have been pointless because they wouldn't have got anywhere. There is a point in the film where they're still thinking, right, this is just weird, yeah? They leave it far too long to turn around. Far
yeah,
too long. Like, I'm like, at some point, I'm like, this is getting weird. All right, let's turn around and go back. We know the highway's back here. Like, in front of us, we still know what the fuck's going on. And we've been driving a long time, and this is getting fucking odd now. I'm like, I'd say 2 hours into that drive, you've not seen another car. You're not seeing anything which is pointing in the right direction. I'm like, all right, fuck this. Let's flip this bitch round. It's a straight run. We'll go back to the highway. Like, I know it wouldn't have mattered, but at no point do they make that decision. I'm just like,
no,
oh, dude, you've got to be making that decision.
just keep going. We've got to keep going through.
No, fuck that. Maybe that speaks to just being a grumpy old man where you just no, I know what I'm doing. I'm fucking
Yeah.
gonna get through. But hey,
Number two, the least scenic holiday detour. The winner for the endless highway. No trees, no towns, no petrol stations. Just one
there's
long
loads of
stretch of.
trees.
Oh, actually, yes, there is. Why did I put that then? No towns, no petrol stations, just one long stretch of existential boredom.
Yeah, I would literally
trees.
say
There's
one thing.
trees everywhere.
It's just all trees. That's the only
Lots,
thing.
lots
Just a
of
tarmac and
trees.
trees. And
Yeah.
and what the occasional like what was it called? Like the house on the side. It's not a house.
Oh, cabin.
Cabin. What the fuck?
Yeah.
I just forgot the word. Bizarre. Anyway.
At number three, the most awkward time to masturbate goes to Richard Harrington.
Great.
Nothing
shout.
says Christmas spirit like sneaking off for a long time while your family unravels in a death loop. I mean, truly a festive faux pas.
Absolutely, and I'm almost kind of admirable of his commitment to masturbating, but at some point you've just got to be. Now's not the time, even if you are 18. Ridiculous. Any alternative titles for this film?
Yeah, we do have a few.
It could actually do with an alternative title because I feel like it's one of those movies where if you type in Dead End, a bunch of other things also come
Yeah.
up. I think there's also another movie literally just called Dead End from like 2013.
There is, yeah. Hungary, cul-de-sac.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
But it's too literal. It doesn't quite work.
Yeah. Lithuania. Anyway.
What? Is
Anyway.
Wait. Anyway or anyway?
Anyway.
Okay, that's weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's weird. Anyway.
Mexico, shortcut to hell.
Yes, okay.
It's not a shortcut though, is it? It takes for fucking ever.
Yeah, no, it is. No, that is the more you think about it, the worse it is.
Yeah. Poland, the way of death.
Mhm.
Portugal, dead end, endless terror.
Just doesn't need it.
Yeah. Spain, dead end, shortcut to hell.
That's too much. It's just it's not that kind of film, is it?
No.
So we're going to stick with Dead End.
Yeah, pretty much. It's
Bizarrely, even though it doesn't work literally, I was going to say metaphorically, thematically, cul-de-sac works, even if like literally it doesn't actually make any sense. But we're just going to stick with Dead End. Any facts for this movie?
In the opening scene, the father mentions shock rocker Marilyn Manson. Marilyn Manson has a song titled Wrapped in Plastic, which was inspired by a line in the television show Twin Peaks, which starred Ray Weiss as Leland Palmer, the father of Laura Palmer, whose body was found wrapped in plastic in the opening moment of the show. Also, the wife's name is Laura.
Nice. Yes, that is indeed a very iconic moment for that TV show.
Next section.
Oh, that's all the facts.
It's literally it.
That's all about. I suppose I did read. This is really a fact. It's a blooper. At one point, you can see the cameraman's shadow on the ground when they're running on the road. But that's not even that interesting. I should have kept that to myself.
There was a film called The Locals. It was like a New Zealand Australian film about a bunch of kids being hunted by, and I think it was kind of the same thing where they're dead, but they don't know they're dead. I don't remember a lot of the film, but I do remember there was a scene where a kid was running back to the car where his friend was in pitch black. But because of the lighting of the camera and everything, his shadow in the middle of the night got to the car before he did. Like the entire thing was lit up and his shadow, it was such a blooper. It was insane.
Dude, the poster literally looks like it just could be a recast version of that witch. What was the film you mentioned earlier? The fucking Witch King, or whatever the hell it was. It wasn't that.
Yeah, Wishmaster.
Wishmaster.
No,
Yeah,
Wish. Yeah,
literally
something
the
like
poster. It's another dude with a shovel. It just looks like it could be a recast version of the same film, and it's
that.
got almost the exact same IMDb as well. How'd you end up watching this? Absolutely insane. Um,
Yeah. I don't know.
to the future. So remake, sequel, Let It Die, Leave Well Alone. For me, it's just Leave Well Alone. I mean, it's a solid premise. You know, you could theoretically remake it, of course, but really, it's the writing and the cast that ultimately elevates this movie. So I'm going to say Leave Well Alone.
Yeah, I kind of say just leave it alone. I mean, I wouldn't say let it
It's
die.
aged really well,
It needs to be, and it has aged really well. I mean, it can't not but age really well, considering there's nothing in there to age it. So
other than
the
Richard.
other than Richard, yeah, okay,
Mhm.
and the fact that they mention the cell phone, and it's you don't actually see it, which is good. Brad just pulls out his phone and goes, "No,
It
I
just
got
says
no
no
signal."
signal. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
just job done.
uh,
No issue.
yeah. So no, I'd leave it alone. We've seen these kinds of films before. We'll see them again.
What's going to make it better? Like, what is possibly going to make this better if you remade it?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, how many
like
films are there where it turns out, oh no, they were dead all along? Like, fuck off. Like, we know it. It's fine.
it was a bigger deal back then. Like it's
Yeah.
become more and more cliche as the years come on. But even by 2003, because of the Sixth Sense, it was almost one of those things you're immediately looking out for. It's like, oh, are they dead? They're probably dead, right? So yeah, and that and the others, which was a slightly different take on it, kind of thing. But it was basically, oh, they're dead. So yeah, it wasn't. This wasn't the first film to do that. And I think, as we mentioned earlier, the smart thing this movie does is it doesn't it doesn't have like a big ta-da moment at the end where it's
Yeah.
like, oh look, they say like you probably figured this out. It's not really about that, is it? Because there's nothing worse than when a movie does the ta-da and you've already figured it out ages ago because it's super obvious. You're just like, guys, we know it's the thing. We know they're dead. It's just Liam. Liam's the only one who hasn't figured this out, so it's just for him.
That's my curse, that is, dude. That's
Okay,
my
fair enough.
curse.
Make a change. So this way, if you could make just one change to make it better, the easy answer for me is just refine the ending. Just less clumsy, less visually out of place. Just put it in line with the rest of the movie. I know you've got to have that moment. You've still got to explain what's happening. I just don't think you need to be so fucking on the nose in it. And you definitely don't need to hire a magician unless you want somebody who actually looks like a magician, which is maybe what they want because that's what they got. A motherfucker who looks like a magician. So
Yeah. I'm with you. I put tighten and clarify the ending, the twist ending. I just and to add that
no,
extra
you don't need to
twist.
clarify. No, they really clarified that. The whole thing with
Okay.
the exposition, they go to town. It's like, yeah, guys, we get it. The spooky exposition is not needed. You can be a bit more subtle.
The kind of extra twist as well seemed forced and illogical. I don't know. I just a sharper, more coherent conclusion would have elevated the film from a fun cult
Mhm.
film to I don't know, like a bit of a horror gem. I would say so. Yeah,
No,
I'd
no,
say
I absolutely agree. It's the only black mark against this film. I genuinely think that. In terms of video games, unsurprisingly, there wasn't a dead end video game. But if I was going to make one now, I'd basically go down the it's a I guess not a super famous game. It's called Open Roads, but it's by Annapurna Interactive, who make a lot of kind of beloved indie games. And it's basically you're driving around with your mum on this kind of like this kind of fact finding thing. You're almost like kind of like investigative kind of family adventure. And for all you do drive around, but then you get to these kind of locations around America, and you basically it's just a walking simulator. I would basically just go for that. Only it's all the whole family in the car, and when you stop, it's because something spooky's happened or somebody's dead. So it's the same kind of like structure, only instead of it being kind of like, oh, we're driving around kind of like the northeast of the United States looking for like keys and shit. You're just like, oh no, Brad's fucking dead, and dealing with that. So that's what I'd go for.
I'm going back to one that we've mentioned previously, but with like the nightmare loop.
Uncharted 2.
Yeah, I mean you can bring the Man in Black back. Uh,
There we go.
no, so with the like nightmare loop, the forest roads, and with all the trees, you know that. It could have easily been one of Alan Wake's like shadowy antagonists, the antagonist, the woman in white. I think so. An Alan Wake
Oh, Alan Wake
style
definitely
game.
gets the
Yeah,
tone. Yeah.
yeah,
I think there's a combination of you getting your tone from something from Alan Wake and the gameplay style
yeah,
that kind of probably captures the kind of game we're looking for here.
yeah.
Best and worst of IMDb. So this is where we pick a random 10-star and 1-star review for this film. As to how many reviews, I honestly have no idea because when I found out that this movie, I thought this was like a real kind of like needle in a haystack movie, like what I loved, but not many people went to see. And then I saw it made 77 million in DVD sales. Like this film was a massive hit, and I just had no idea. So maybe there are hundreds of reviews. I'm going to go for like 220 reviews.
310.
That's a lot, dude.
That is a lot.
People
Yeah.
have seen this film. I thought I was like ahead of the fucking curve on this film. Absolutely was not.
10 star? How many 10 stars do you reckon?
I think this could be a lot, man. I think people genuinely like this film. I'm going to say 62.
32. You're
Okay,
30
fair
out.
enough. That's
Yeah.
not too far off.
Right, so this one was written in November 2007, titled A Great Movie. This is one of those movies that shows that you don't need a lot of money to produce, that doesn't need a long and complicated story, that doesn't need much special effects, but it has a simple but great story. The atmosphere is just perfect. The actors are doing a fantastic job. Once in a while, there are movies who are just perfect. There are movies who are just perfect. Okay. This is one of those movies. Tip: another that qualifies in this category is The Last Supper with Cameron Diaz and Ron Eldard.
I was not expecting that at all.
No. Of course, as always, some people won't like it because there is not enough action or special effects. But to all of us who love movies and take their time to watch something else for a change, I can only recommend it. Try to watch it when you are alone at night in the dark and let your mind go. Enjoy.
Fair enough. He's giving
Yeah.
us maybe a glass of wine. I don't know.
Yeah.
I was going to say popcorn then. Would you have wine with popcorn?
Glass of wine, Zippo lighter, Miss July.
Some
you
people,
know,
well,
just
it was
enjoy
all those
it.
this is completely apropos of nothing. Well, it's apropos of what we were just talking about, I suppose. But we still remember this, there was a kind of Chinese buffet which used to be in the centre of Edinburgh. It's closed down now, but it was like really popular. But it was just exactly what you imagine. It wasn't full of Chinese people, put it that way. It's full of
Yeah.
Western folk and tourists all just going in and eating basically delicious slop. I love that
Yeah.
slop, but it's slop. And we went in for lunch one day when we were in the office. So it was Friday afternoon, and there was a dude in there. He was on his own, which is I always think is a statement at a buffet, and he was drinking a bottle of red wine on his own. And I was just like,
What a hero.
Exactly my thought. Other people might look at that and be like, what's that dude doing? I'm like, that guy is living his best life. He doesn't give a fuck what you think. It's Friday afternoon. He wants Chinese buffet and a glass of fucking red wine. And that's exactly what he's going to have. Absolute legend. That happened like 15 years ago. I still remember that dude. Absolute legend. Anyway, sorry.
No worries.
So 1 star review. Sorry, they can't be that many. Although, like you said, it's the whole subjective thing. A lot of people, if you don't get on with this style of horror, you're not going to like the film. I'm going to go with 12.
So I would have gone with, if you like what you said about the objective thing, because it's 34. 10 stars is 32. This is 34. So it was close.
Wow. So more
Yeah.
people gave this 1
Yeah.
than 10.
Yeah.
That is crazy, man. I genuinely thought there was going to be a few people they just don't get on with it. I wouldn't, man. I would have bet a lot of money on there being more people giving this 10
Yeah.
than 1. That's crazy.
Right. So this was written in January 2005, titled Red Reviews. Watched it. Sorry, I did. Before I ordered the movie Dead End, I went through a number of viewer comments. Most of them, if not all, were positive, so I decided to hit the order button. 15 minutes into the movie, I realized this could be a mistake. Nothing made sense. First of all, the viewer is forced to root against the family for their obnoxious behavior. This is usually par for the course in any slash 'em up movie, but more so in this one. I said, kill 'em all and end the movie already. The way in which characters disappeared and wound up dead seconds later was hard to believe. No psychological thriller here. If you were dealing with faceless killers, try to make it a little bit more believable. I would pass on this. Dead End.
Yeah, I just completely missed the point. But like you said, horror is very subjective. I'm still genuinely shocked that there's so many 1 star reviews. But yeah, if you don't get on with it, you just don't get on with it. Like we've said, different, it could be like we've said this before with comedy, like, Anchorman. It's like, I love Anchorman. My friend, we've got a group of friends we all grew up with. We all used to quote it and stuff. You're not a fan. And if you don't get on with the comedy, it's all good me saying to you, oh, but what about this? Like, I might as well be talking to a brick wall. And I don't mean that in a critical way of you. It's just, and this goes both ways. When it comes to comedy, if it just doesn't click with you, then the film is not going to work. It's just one of those things. But yeah, and obviously this is maybe at the more kind of extreme end. You think about, like, I like this because for all the reasons he said he didn't like it, for instance. But then you think about something like Saw, which made millions, billions of dollars, whatever, and I just don't fucking like those films at all. I just can't get on with gore porn.
No.
But obviously, a lot of people do, so it's just one of those things. That takes us to our own ratings and recommendations. Unsurprisingly, it's a 4 and a yes from me. And I've been going around telling them, it's like, oh, this really niche film, this cult movie, Dead End, you have to see it. And in fairness, most of the people I've talked to have never seen it, but apparently loads of other people have. Maybe it was a bigger hit in America. I don't know. But yeah, it's, despite the fact that, as you mentioned, it doesn't quite stick the landing, I still think this is a mostly fantastic movie. So it's a 4 and a yes for me. And I think I kind of forgot that it was a Christmas movie. I think last week when we talked about it, I was like, in the back of my head, if you had said that this was a Thanksgiving movie, in the kind of trains, planes, and automobile style, where you're just like, is it Christmas or is it like? I would have believed you. So yeah, I think I'm going to be pressing people to watch this at Christmas now.
Now that's a horror movie. Planes, Trains, and
Yeah,
Automobiles.
yeah, for sure,
That is a
for
horror.
sure.
One of the listeners sent me a friend, but he's a listener as well. Dan, he sent me a reel saying, "You've still spoiled this movie for me." It's just the ending of John Candy and Steve Martin,
Oh,
and I'm
it's
like, no,
dark.
no, no. I still stand by the fact that Steve Martin only brought him home just to ruin him. That
Oh
was the
yeah, yeah, yeah,
only
yeah.
reason. Yeah,
He's absolutely next door, really thin walls, absolutely railing his wife when he
yeah,
just listens on crying.
yeah. Like,
So it's
haha,
actually,
I have a wife and you don't. It's like, oh
yeah,
no.
it's
Yeah,
it's a surprisingly grim ending when you stop and think about it.
yeah.
Anyway, sorry, your rating
Sorry. Yeah,
recommendation?
no. It's a 3 for me, but
Mhm,
I don't know if I would recommend it. I
mhm.
enjoyed it. I think it's a 3. I just don't think it's
You
going
don't
to
feel
be.
that strongly about it.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be the like for the cup of tea of a lot of people. I don't think that this is one I could just go shout from the rooftops
Mhm,
about. So
mhm, mhm.
I probably wouldn't recommend it, or I'm not going to recommend it. But it is a 3 star. I still
Yeah,
enjoyed it
yeah, yeah.
myself personally. Yeah,
Absolutely reasonable. So yeah, that has been
yeah.
2003's Dead End. So next week for the second part of our Hugmas season of alternative Christmas movies, it is your choice, sir.
It is. I'm really sorry about this, by the
Oh,
way.
here we
Just
go.
FYI.
Here we go.
1997.
It's not Jingle All the Way. No, that's before that, and it wouldn't be very alternate, is it?
I mean that is a horror film. No, and it's
No,
not
no,
like
no.
it's not Jingle All the Way. That was like 94, 95, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was going to say that was
Yeah,
before that. It wasn't
yeah.
97. In that, is it quite niche? If you tell me, like, or is
I
it
think
like
it
quite
is.
well
Yeah,
known?
I mean, no, I don't think it's well known. It is quite niche,
Okay,
I would
I'm
say.
not sure. All right,
Okay.
because
Uh,
I'm trying to think of any 1997 film, and the only one I can think of is Event Horizon. Now I'm pretty sure that was 97.
directed by Michael Cooney, who coincidentally wrote Identity.
Ooh. I really
But
like
but but
Identity,
but,
by the
but
way.
yeah, but don't let it because he's only directed 2 films.
Okay, okay. Did he direct Identity? Did you say
No, he wrote
he wrote it?
Identity.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
honestly, I wouldn't be against covering Identity on this podcast.
Yeah.
I
He
genuinely like that
directed
much.
he directed this film and its sequel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Star.
Well, Scott
Star with yeah. Okay, we go.
Scott McDonald.
Yeah, you might just have to put me out my misery
Okay.
here, dude.
Well, I will. I mean, it's the film debut of Shannon Elizabeth.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
I still don't know, but
No. Uh, Jack Frost.
Jack Frost.
Yeah.
I
Not the Michael Keaton. I've come back from the dead. Jack Frost.
yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking of. I was like, no,
No.
that wasn't
It's the
97.
It's the after an accident that left murderer Jack Frost dead in genetic material, the vengeful killer returns as a murderous snowman to exact his revenge on the man who sent him to be
See,
executed.
I'm getting weird. Like, so Jack Frost was actually after it. It was actually 98, as in the
Yeah,
Michael Keaton version.
yeah.
It says here the one you're talking about was 96, not 97.
I'm looking at 97 on IMDb.
Well, it's weird, right? If I type in Jack Frost into Google, it
Yeah.
automatically says Jack Frost. It says in brackets 1997, as if to separate it from the 1998 version. But then on the top of the page, it says 1996 horror
So
comedy.
if I would have
When I
said
was trying to turn
96, you're
this on.
telling me you would have got it anyway. Like you
No,
arguing
not
about
a
the year,
fucking
you
chance.
never would have got it. Yeah. What
Not
really
a chance.
upset me about this film is the difference between the poster of Jack Frost
Yeah.
and then actual Jack Frost.
Well, it's wonderful because I can't even tell you which one it is because they've even on Google they're getting confused because they're clearly mixing up the pictures between this Jack Frost and 1998 Jack Frost.
So I don't think they no. So think about it. So the poster of Jack Frost, where he looks like a snowy skeleton with his
Yeah.
fangs.
Got you. That's not what he looks like.
No, he looks like Michael Keaton's Jack Frost.
He looks very similar. That's why they've
Yeah,
mixed up. He looks so similar. The only difference is he hasn't got a red scarf. No, he does have a red scarf for some
yeah,
of it.
yeah. I'm pretty sure they just took the model of that Jack Frost and used it for Michael Keaton's
My
film the
God.
next year.
Is this the Christmas version of Armageddon versus Deep Impact we didn't know about, where they're just like,
Yeah,
not only are these movies similar, they are literally called the same fucking thing, and it's on Tubi. So yeah, if you
yeah,
fancy watching, and it's on Plex.
yeah.
So yeah, if you fancy giving this movie, which is running at a incredibly high 16% on Rotten Tomatoes, a 4.7 on IMDb, but if ever there was a genre which goes above, like a genre where I can genuinely enjoy potentially bad movies. It is horror, and especially if you
Yeah.
combine it with Christmas, I have a pretty, high barrier for that. Is that the right term? Anyway, you know what I'm going for.
I mean,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
sequel
I
as
saw
well,
the
Jack
poster.
Frost 2, Revenge of the Mutant Killer Snowman, where the snowman goes to like the Bahamas to kill. Figure that out.
Yeah,
He's a snow.
that's
I
sounds
mean,
interesting.
but here's one for you.
Mhm.
Never seen the sequel.
Oh, that is a rarity.
Yeah.
That, in fairness, right, the poster for the second one looks incredibly straight to DVD. The poster for this one looks a touch more promising.
Yeah.
I can't say I'm expecting it to be fantastic. He's chilling and killing is the tag for
Yep.
this film.
Yep.
Is so yeah, but he really doesn't look anything like he does on the poster at all. The poster is
No.
just not representative of the movie at all, is it? It's ridiculous.
I remember having fun with this film. That's all I'm gonna say. Like I
Well,
remember having fun with it. I mean, I'm trying to. I want to make it terrible, but also kind of wash Santa's sleigh out of your mouth from 2 years ago.
I mean, Santa Slay is the only truly terrible movie I think we've done this podcast. Or like, we can have different
Which
tastes. And
it's rated higher than this film, Santa's sleigh.
oh man, Santa Slay was fucking rough, man.
Yeah.
I think we mentioned just before we started this podcast, we were talking about some of the Christmas we've covered. The actual start of Santa Slay is quite good, but then it kind of devolves after that and just
Yeah.
becomes a bit of. It's not even tower. It's just a bit of a nothingy kind of film. This film I don't have the highest hopes for, but it'll be interesting. So we'll see how that goes. And like you said, you can watch it for free, and it'll put you in the Christmas spirit if you're looking for an alternative Christmas movie. And it's very much if you're looking for a Christmas horror film, it's at the complete opposite end of the spectrum to Dead End. So if
Yeah.
Dead End isn't your cup of tea, go and watch Jack Frost instead. Just don't accidentally watch actually. I don't know. Would it be a terrible thing to accidentally watch the Michael Keaton one? I suspect it's probably a better movie.
I mean, I didn't mind it, if I'm
I've
honest. I
seen
mean,
it
I've seen it.
once years
Mm.
ago. It's obviously going to be a bit schmaltzy, isn't it, by comparison?
Yeah.
So anyway, we're not covering that one. We're covering whatever it is, 96, 97's Jack Frost, directed by, who was it again?
Oh, sorry, I had that
sorry,
a second
put you on
ago.
the spot there.
Sorry, it's okay. Michael Cooney,
Michael Cooney, if that means
who
anything
also
to
wrote
you.
it.
Oh, fair enough. Well,
Yeah.
that's going to be an interesting one. All right, anything else to add before we wrap this up then?
Yeah, in regards to Dread from last week, Damon Revelet dropped us a message to say, in regards to the slow-mo and falling to one's death, he says, "Hey guys, thank you for covering Dread. I'm not sure if this qualifies as a Rob take, but if any listeners do have a Rob take, feel free to bring them in, or don't bring them in, just send them in. Yeah, don't
Whatever,
bring them
yeah.
to me. It'll be
Just
weird.
write them. Yeah, it'd be strange if they
Yeah.
showed up at your door. Yeah.
But there is one thing that always bothered me. When the Mama clan skin the three guys, they give them slow-mo before throwing them over the balcony. This is implied to draw out the experience of falling to their deaths. However, it wouldn't slow the actual fall. So wouldn't they just experience the first few seconds of the fall before their brains are destroyed by the impact? Their perception of the fall would never have time to catch up to reality because their central nervous systems are no longer functional. What a waste of perfectly good drugs. Now, I will say, that is very deep, Damon, because my God, I had to read that 3 times to try and figure out what was going on.
Well, I mean, you can always make the argument that time is relative, of course, but that's due to distances and travel, blah, blah, blah. I've never thought about it in relation to drugs. I guess that you could kind of apply that to anything. It's like, if you're in the bath and everything feels like it's going slow, the time is still, and she sees the water is going slow. It's still going at a normal speed for everyone else. So it's just to do how you perceive it. So I still think you could probably, I know what he means though, because you're still going to hit the ground, but the time is still that amount of time. You're just perceiving it in a different way. So those 2 seconds, say it takes you 5 seconds to fall, for you it feels like 15 seconds, but it's only you perceiving it. It's like time is moving on and you're still doing the plebby thing and everyone else has already left the room. You're still doing the same thing. It's just relative to you. So I think it still works in theory, but maybe I'm missing the obvious there. But yes, Damon has he's gone deep on us there, and obviously he's confused me. I'm going to commit to it and say it might still feel either way. You've just been skinned. You're thrown off the top of a building. It's a bad day, regardless of whether the drug works or not. And it's odd because everyone talks about the throwing you off bit. Surely the worst part about it is being fucking skinned. No, it's being skinned alive.
Skinned alive. Okay, yeah.
100%.
I mean, but they were skinned alive before they were given slow-mo.
Oh, see, I thought they gave them slow-mo, then skinned them alive.
No, I think they skinned them, slow-moed them, and then chucked them off.
I do feel like to a certain extent we are splitting hairs here. It's an unpleasant experience, whichever way you look at it.
Yeah.
So yeah. But good point, Damon.
Damon also goes on to say then, also, guys, did you ever see the show Almost Human? It stars Carl Urban and his bestest American accent as a cop partner with an android in New Pittsburgh.
His
I can already answer for the both of us.
American accent, yes.
I can already answer for the both of us. Liam has not seen that. I have. I will also say Michael Ealy played the android. And if I remember rightly, Mackenzie Crook from Pirates of the Caribbean fame was the inventor or the
What was it called?
keeper of the android. Almost Human.
Almost Human. I'm just seeing it like, no, and I haven't seen it. You are absolutely correct. 2013.
Yeah.
It's a movie,
no, it's a season. It was a TV show. It was a one and done season. I don't think it might be a bit too high.
Almost Human movie from 2013. We're picking a lot of things where there's like different versions with the same name. Like it happened with Dead End. There's like 3 different movies called Dead End, Jack Frost, and now we've got Almost Human. So TV series. Here we go.
Yeah.
Just a tick. Sorry, I just want to look this up before we end the podcast. Those are good reviews.
Let's all pause and just listen to silence whilst.
Yeah, this is. I might as well be seeing this for the first time. I don't recognize any of this at all, but it looks very 2013, if that's at all possible.
It makes me feel in the early 90s. Was it the early 90s? No, the late 90s. There was or was it the early 2000s? There was a Total Recall TV show.
Was it really?
Total Recall 2070. There you go, 1999. Yeah.
I have no recollection of that whatsoever.
A detective for a police agency is teamed with a naive new officer who is secretly an android and often conflicts with the assessor's office and the security forces of the consortium, a small number of extremely powerful companies. Yeah.
Wait, is that based on the movie so the movie's based on a Philip K. Dick novel, right?
Yeah.
Is that got anything to do with that, or is it a completely separate thing? Because it has to be, because the poster is clearly a nod to the Schwarzenegger movie.
Yeah.
But that's
like it's nothing to do with Total Recall. Like it's not Get Your Ass to Mars or anything like that.
No. Yeah. Kind of exists in the same kind of universe, same kind of tech. It looks very, very 1999. Not in a good way.
But again, it's a cop that teams up with an android. So as soon as I read that about Almost Human, I thought, hang on now, that sounds familiar. I have seen Almost Human.
So many
but also, I remember there being a cop and an android thing before. And it was, and I remember it was Titus Welliver was in a couple of them. Bosch.
Bosch, yeah.
Good old Bosch.
Well, I mean, sorry, I'm saying this. I have no fucking idea. So yeah, this sounds like a bunch of things I would not have seen. And yeah, you can everything you've just said. I'm just like, it's just all news to me. So we'll just end the podcast with me just sounding confused. Seems like a sort of.
Well, let's make you more confused. Do you remember Space Precinct from like the early 90s?
Space Precinct. For some odd reason, the only thing that's popping into my head, because I think you mentioned, a cop with a robot. I immediately thought of a cop with an alien, and Alien Nation was just like this big deal for a few years because it was like a movie and stuff as well. But
so it was the movie with James Caan.
Yeah.
But then there was the Alien Nation TV show and TV movies with the guy from Robot Jocks.
Yeah.
But no, Space Precinct was about 2 cops who join a space police task force and go to a space station and fight aliens.
It sounds a little bit Green Lantern-esque, doesn't it? Almost.
Yeah. Pretty much, but they are wearing police uniforms. It's
we're going to have to
police procedural.
We're just naming TV shows nobody can remember at this point. So yeah, we'll just move on. As always, like us, subscribe, share with your friends, all that bollocks. But yes, I've been Liam, he's been Rob, and you have been listening to the Hey Guys podcast. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.
And I'd be intrigued if I'm the only one who has Rob takes like that. So if anyone's got any like that, please send them in. But yep, cheers, guys. See you next week. Bye now.
Oh, and before I forget, where can folk reach us if they were so inclined to?
Well, you can actually reach us on Hey You Guys 80s at Facebook, Instagram, and on Twitter. But if you want to send us a mail, do heyyouguys80s@gmail.com. Send us in your recommendations. Send us in your thoughts about any of the episodes. Just literally talk to us. We'll have a one-sided talk with you on the podcast.
Yeah. We're nice folk. Get in touch. But no, cheers, guys. Bye-bye.
Cheers, guys. Bye now.